What began as a simple guest paper being casually forwarded on social media has now snowballed into one of the biggest examination scams India has seen in recent years. The Neet Undergraduate 2026, country's biggest medical entrance examination taken by nearly 22.79 lakh students, stands cancelled. And at the center of the controversy is an alleged interstate paper leak network that investigators believe quietly operated days before the exam itself. According to investigators, the trail may have started in Nasik, Maharashtra, where the paper is suspected to have been compromised either during printing, storage, or transportation. Sources say the leaked paper may have been digitally copied using high-definition scanners to avoid detection, and investigators are also probing the possible use of hidden digital transfer systems to circulate the files. The question was far more sophisticated than simply sharing a leaked paper openly. Investigators say the network allegedly disguised the leaked paper as a guest paper, a VIP set, or important questions that allowed it to quietly spread through coaching institutes, Telegram groups, and WhatsApp circles without immediately raising alarm. The first major breakthrough in the case reportedly dates back to April 26, when two brothers from Rajasthan allegedly purchased the paper for 30 lakh rupees from a doctor in Gurugram. Investigators believe that the network became a major link in moving the paper into Rajasthan's coaching ecosystem. But what truly exposed the scam was a completely unexpected chain of events. An MBBS student from Rajasthan, currently studying in Kerala, allegedly received the so-called guest paper from a friend in Sikar. Since he himself no longer needed it, he casually forwarded the PDF to his father, who is a hostel owner in Sikar. The next day, after the exam ended, the hostel owner shared the paper with a chemistry teacher out of curiosity. What followed changed everything. The teacher began matching the guest paper with the actual NEET question paper and found that dozens of questions matched exactly. A biology teacher was then consulted, and together they reportedly found a staggering overlap of 135 questions, including identical wording and punctuation. That was the moment the leak stopped looking like a rumor and started looking like a full-scale organized racket. The hostel owner and teachers first approached local police, but when no immediate action followed, they emailed the National Testing Agency. That whistleblower alert eventually triggered a wider investigation involving the Rajasthan SOG and later the CBI. Since then, the probe has rapidly expanded across multiple states. Investigators have questioned students, coaching operators, and consultancy-linked individuals, while also tracing WhatsApp chats, telegrams, as well as money trails. Multiple arrests have already been made, including Shubham Khairnar and Dhananjay Lokhande, Manish Yadav, as well as other allegedly linked to the network. All young men, 30s, late 20s. And finally, on May 12, the NT officially cancelled the NEET Undergraduation 2026, saying the integrity of the examination had been compromised. The big questions are no longer just about a leaked paper. It's about credibility. In fact, the complete lack of credibility, the breakdown of credibility of India's examination system. How did such a big national exam system get compromised in this manner? Lakhs of students and their future hangs in balance. I'm being joined by Nitin Bagri, who's a Vice President for FIMA. I'm also being joined by Rahil Sheikh, who's a CEO for NEETprep.com. I'm also being joined by Professor Kapil Kumar, who's a veteran educationist. Thank you very much, all three of you, for joining me. Professor Kapil Kumar, let me just straight get to you at this point. I mean, look at what has unfolded, just the first point of it, and that is simple examination paper. simple guest papers, simple VIP sets that all of us have been privy to at this times when we were studying. How could this have happened? How could this have happened?
See, I'm not surprised. In my 56 years long career of academics, I've seen paper leakages happening since 1973, irrespective of the government, irrespective of the regime. And I've seen the education mafia becoming stronger and stronger and stronger in this country. And today it has become a strong mafia tool. When in 24 this paper leakage happened, I gave suggestions. I gave pinpointed things. But the problem is that these committees which are made, in which these high-flown names are put up, vice chancellor, some judge, this, that, do they know ABC of what is happening at the ground root levels? Now, you yourself mentioned that that was purchased by 30 lakh rupees. You know what is the chain? Where the paper is leaked at press, suppose that person leaks at it 1 crore. The person who has bought it at 1 crore, he will sell it to 10 different people for 50 lakhs. Those who have bought at 50 lakhs, they will sell it for 25 lakhs to others. Those who buy 25 lakhs, they will sell at 5 lakhs to others. And ultimately, the price goes down to 100 rupees when it reaches some hostel also. I've seen this happening in my life, and we have cracked down also. Then, my other question comes here, very important. You see, two more things I'll say very important. This whole damn system of multiple questions, multiple answers, pick which is the correct answer, and you give A, B, C, these objective type questions. So long you will have this system, this thing will continue more. And that system does the brain power of the child. It reduces our thinking power. And what has happened is, where these paper setters are done, they have made question banks. So they have kept 2,000 questions, 3,000 questions. From those questions itself, they keep repeating the same questions again and again every year. This is what they call the question banks. And this is how it goes. So it is very easy for guest workers also. Suppose if there were, how many total questions were there? 500 out of 500, there are 135 which have been found common, or how many total questions were there? I don't know that. Okay. So 135 have been found. Secondly, there was a time I remember in UP when these guest papers were banned in UP, that anyone publishing or selling these guest papers will be arrested. Why don't we do that? I remember a government in UP which had passed strict laws against copying, that it will be not bail won't be granted and all that. And the other government comes, that removes that bill, allows mass copying. So ultimately, we dig at the deep root. What we are looking at is short-term solutions, that the CBI has got 2 from there, 3 from there, this will done. No, the matter will not end there. You have to need a task force, and I tell you, the way you need an ATS to fight terrorism, this is academic terrorism. This is terrorism on our youth, on their future. This is terrorism on the academic importance of the country. And this terrorism has to be fought by a task force, the kind of people who are being appointed, nominated without qualifications, through flattery, through money. The posts are being sold out. This is happening to the education system in the country, and this is not today. This has been going on for last 50 years.
Sir, let me just get in Rahil Sheikh. Rahil Sheikh, I think very, very strong words by Professor Kapil Kumar. This is nothing short of education terrorism, as it were, what he has called academic terrorism. Very strong words. Many would agree with this, because the way lakhs of students and their futures, their efforts have completely been destroyed in just seconds. But Rahil Sheikh, break this down for us. You know, what would have been achieved? Because at the end of the day, what seems to be in this case is, this was available in public and you did not have to pay extra money for this. It was available all over. So it was possibly, in the beginning, it would have gone through a money racket. It would have been bought for a couple of lakhs. But what about eventually, this became part of the system. Was that intentional? Could that have been intentional? Or it was just a byproduct of the digital landscape where this was happening?
Well, as far as the anatomy of the leak is concerned, to the best of my knowledge, this was not public information. If this were circulating in public groups, there would have been wider coverage of this even before the NEET exam got conducted. So I'm not sure whether this was public.
No,
However,
Rahil,
if
if it was not public,
No,
here's where it is coming. This is where I have to come in. This seems to have been public. It would not be open for everyone everywhere, but again, as digital access is, one passes to the other, and why I have reasons to believe that this seems to have been in public domain was because at the end of the day, this was passed on to a cop by a father of an unsuspecting son who doesn't even require this, is a medical aspirant, and he got it and he's forwarded to his father saying, there seems to be a good number of questions that kids read and pass through. Forward it to your kids, to the kids who are studying in the hostel. Very unsuspecting, very unassuming. They are out in public domain. They have not been arrested. Their testimonies have been taken. So what are we really talking about? This seems to have been in public domain completely.
maybe, but I'd like to talk about a different part of the leak.
Sure.
Let's be clear about it. When the paper got leaked, it got leaked through some official channels. Obviously, nobody could have gotten their hands on the real paper unless they had access to the real paper. So whoever had access to the real paper holds the most responsibility. Now, I'm not saying that the people who leaked and people who circulated are not responsible. They are responsible. They should be held accountable. They should go to jails. They need to pay for the sins that they've committed against the students of the country, the sins that they have committed towards the trust, the erosion of trust for the sanctity of the NEET exam. However, in my opinion, the utmost responsibility lies with the source of the leak. And let's not forget that the paper has gotten leaked, not just once, but at least twice in the last 3 years
Absolutely.
from somewhere in the official chain, despite there being a lot of assurances about, GPS, AI, a lot of security, the paper still got leaked. Now, there might be a lot of security on the ground on the day of the exam, but how is that relevant if somewhere in the supply chain of the examination paper, there was some point, there was some vulnerability where it got leaked from? And in my humble opinion, the most responsibility lies with the people who are responsible, who are tasked, whose fiduciary duty is to take care of making sure that the sanctity of the paper is maintained. So those are the people who are the most responsible, from where the origin of responsibility starts for a massive leak at such a massive scale. That's where I think the probe needs to go.
Rahil, how are the kids that you're engaging with, those who are part of the coaching ecosystem right now that you're engaging with, how are they? How are they coping with this?
It's extremely unfortunate. It's heartbreaking. The way
Give us
I've been
some
speaking to
reactions.
students and
How
then-
are they? How are they? I mean, of course, they will have questions. They will have a lot of questions, but are there emotional breakdowns? Because not everybody can afford years of coaching. Many of these kids, for 2, 3, 4 years, have gone through these coachings.
Absolutely. What I'm seeing right in front of my eyes breaks my heart. The students, many of the sincere students, many of the honest students who have been preparing steadfastly, they have given up so much over the last couple of years, over the last 3, sometimes 4 years of preparation. They've stopped going to parties, they've stopped chilling with they've stopped going on vacations. The reason being that not just them, but their families have also made the sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice.
Right.
It's not just about the money anymore. Parents have spent so much money, while preparing for these exams. But it's not just even about the money. It's about so much more. When you spend so much time, and then you tell them that journey is not over. They have to prepare again. Whenever the next re-NEET date is announced, the students will have to spend 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours per day, once again going through the same grind. It's not even just about the time, the mental pressure, the sheer mental pressure, like you rightly mentioned. Not all of the students will have the capacity to, take the pressure again. And just think about, just like in any population, there are some students who are going to be mentally strong, but there are going to be certain students who are going to be weak.
True.
And as their educators, as the people who are responsible for this, it's our responsibility that we provide them the best means possible to
No,
fight
actually,
this.
Rahil, here's the ugly truth surfacing. One, our education system is collapsed. Because obviously the fact that all these aspirants need to go through years of coaching to prepare them to take these NEET examinations, IIT, JEE examinations itself is a failure of the education system. And then you have another faux pas, which is such a shame, that despite taking those years out and doing what they have, they just don't have the basic right to be able to get the results for what they have spent. That's beyond comprehension in India in 2026. But Dr. Nitin Bagri, FIMA has moved the court. They've taken the legal route and they have said, bring down NTA. Why?
Like NEET usually is not just an exam, it's just creates a doctor on which the health system of India, of our countries depend. Like we are just concerned about like it will not create munna bhais, like it will be authentic doctor should become. We have just filed a petition over the Supreme Court for the same, that NTA has like had processed the examinations, and the leak of this examination happen is quite shameful, and like creates a question mark over a system.
Now, if that's what you want in terms of the NTA being dismantled, what do you think is the solution? I mean, you may want the dismantling of an organization because it, according to you, it's inefficient. But is there any system that you see that really can work, that can stop this? Because this seems
Like
to be a recurrence.
it should be accountable, and the victims who had like accompanied this who makes this the leak system is successful should be behind the jails and should be liable for the questionable should be there.
Kapil Kumar, let me come to you. Let me take this question to you. Whether it be China, whether it be Japan, whether it be several other countries, but I want to particularly take these two countries because their model is so different. The scale at which they conduct these examinations and the high priority in terms of the infrastructure support that's created for this, the national emergency as they would see it in terms of anything happening unfounded with it. What is amiss with India? Why isn't it able to put its things together? And here's the big question, Professor Kapil Kumar. This doesn't seem to be happening with IIT JEE. This doesn't seem to be happening with other examinations. What's up with NEET?
It has happened with those exams also.
Not at this scale.
No, please. This is what I said in the beginning. Don't take this as an isolated case.
It
this
is not an isolated case. Certainly not.
Because we pick and choose and we do that. I said this mafia is operative since long time. You see, I have handled 3, paper leakages of my national university because we also conduct exams at thousands of centers. And I was able, in each case, I was able to pinpoint out from where it had leaked out, and we could punish the person who did it. Now, where it has leaked, the first thing is that whosoever is the chairman heading the NEET, and all those who have handled this paper in NEET, they should be immediately arrested.
Well, they have not been arrested. They have not even been removed from their post. They are sitting right there tight on their right chairs.
I'm demanding that they should not only be arrested by CBI, but they should be interrogated. CBI should take custody of them. So now, if you have to bring out the whole thing out, from where did it leak out? Where did it go? The press person where this press was publishing it, that press man should be arrested. If you don't take these hard steps, you can't fight this academic terrorism, as I said it. And you see, it is a multiple thing linked out. It is not just paper leakage. Recently, CBI raided the houses of some experts who had gone and recommended some bogus institutions as medical colleges. And what happens? The person who was raided is house CBI raided. I can name the person. D.P. Singh, who is an ex-UGC chairman, an ex-director of NAC, and he gets a reward, and he becomes the chairman of Tata Institute of Social Sciences. So the CBI has raided his house. What are we doing to academics? And the bureaucrats who sit and make these policies, do they know the ground realities in education? And similarly, blame the students and their parents also who give money to buy these papers. We have seen this case in Bihar, where that girl had talked that that girl cannot spell out her own name also in English. You remember that case? Mass copying and all that. These are all interlinked cases. A special force is required to look into the loopholes in the education system in this regard, whether it is mass copying, whether it is paper leakage, whether it is other modes. You look at my Twitter. I've started giving cases on my Twitter on this. How these things operate, how these things, whether it is a racket of approving PhD thesis, how these things happen.
Okay.
Where are we taking our education system to?
You know, I do want to come back to you in terms of how do you recommend. But Professor, before I come back to you, Dr. Nitin Bagri, what has unfolded as pockets seems to be a nodal point for Sikar repeatedly. But it's not just about Rajasthan, it's not just about Sikar, it's about how the footprint is across India. There seems to be a imminent danger, a time bomb that we all are sitting on.
It's true to say it's not happening first time that Neet has been leaked. I guess it was leaked previously also in 2015 and 2024. It's again the whole system is involved, and the transparency should be there in the examination.
But you're a doctor. You are also the vice president for FIMA. How would you see this go forward? You are saying you want transparency. How do you want transparency?
The conduction of exam should be in a proper way. The culprits who had made this leak successful should be behind the jails, and strong action should be taken against them, so that in future, if this will happen, the one who is scared of the things that these things can happen against him.
So you're talking about deterrence. You're talking about deterrence, not essentially about transparency. Rahil Sheikh, is deterrence a problem?
Well, the problem exists at so many
why
levels.
I'm asking you about deterrence, Rahil Sheikh, because one side is deterrence, the other side is loopholes. And the fact that you have these coaching centers thrive the way they are is built on loopholes. It's built on the loopholes of the education system. But what's happening now is, once children have tried figuring out a way of overcoming that loophole, their entire careers have been snuffed out even before they start off. Rahil.
Right, I'd like to talk about both of the things. I'd like to talk about deterrence,
yes,
and I'd like to talk about transparency as well. So let's be clear, as the educators who are responsible for, guiding our young talent, the educators who are supposed to be the role models, who are supposed to emulate the right behavior for these impressionable minds, hold the utmost responsibility more than anybody else to behave in a way that we want our young generation to emulate. In such cases, if there are lapses in moral character, and this is not just lapse in moral character, this is absolute criminal behavior.
What do you mean by moral character, though?
Yeah, so this is actually...
What do you mean by moral character? We are not talking about morality here.
Absolutely.
Morality is a very subjective issue. I mean, who's bothered about morality here when you have tangible collapse of an entire system where children's lives is at stake? You don't know what may happen tomorrow. Who's really bothered about morality here?
Exactly. So it's not just moral character, it's absolute criminal behavior. And they hold more responsibility than anyone else for, unethical, illegal behavior. And hence their punishment should be appropriate. It should be scaled to the responsibility that they hold. And hence, there should be examples that should be made for people who have been a part of this.
Okay.
That's about deterrence. Let me talk about transparency
30 seconds, sir. You'll have to wrap in 30 seconds. I do want to get the last.
So when it comes to transparency, the immediate thing that I demand, that I request the NTA to release is center-wise scores of all the students. It can be de-anonymized, but still it can be released. And patterns where, if there are pockets where leakage has happened, can be spotted by even the naked eye, just by plain analytics. So that's where, at least that's the first step of transparency. I would expect, like it happened in 2024.
Professor Kapil Kumar, your closing comments on this.
Well, my closing comment is very simple, that let there be a strong task force in which you take who are experienced, who know the ground realities. They suggest what transparency should be there. They suggest what deterrence should be there and what the examination system should be there. Today, an online system. Why can't the paper be given online when the students enter the place? Why can't it be given to the centers right there and then, just 5 minutes before the examination? There are many ways. I have all these ways. I have dealt with the examinations. And big examinations. I'm not talking of 100 and 200. I'm talking of thousands. But the problem is that people like us who are professionals in these areas, they are not to be consulted. And secondly, my other request is to all these political parties who are making a political gimmick out of it, accusing each other and political party. Every political party has done that in the country under their regime. So stop playing politics on this national disaster. And let us fight this disaster together, everyone. And throw out the corrupts who are sitting on the educational position.
Right. Right. I think, Professor Kapil Kumar, it's been a privilege having you. Your experience speaks louder than anything else. And I think the government needs to take note of people who come with the experience and the advisors. I think the government cannot live anymore as white armchair specialists, because it's disaster lurking at every ground. And there seems to be a whole lot of cleaning that really needs to be done before another leak and a shame hits India. Rahil Sheikh, thank you very much for joining us. Dr. Nitin Bagri, thank you so much for your time.